What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Supper in a Can. We're back at Valdoro Chippy, and this week I'm joined by the best barman in Glasgow, the fantastic Gavin Mitchell. Welcome to the show. Now Gavin, without further ado, let's get a munch.
Just ride with it, like, go and get live with it.
Well, Gavin and Bob, welcome to Supper in a Can. It's an absolute pleasure to be sitting across from you. The both of you. Talk to us about the order, because you made me aware that you actually had a chippy last night.
I did.
You're a chippy fiend.
I was at the Oxford.
Oxford? Oh, where's that?
I was there. It's up in Garnet Hill. I had sausage and chips last night. Just a wee single sausage, no your double.
Your double?
Good. You know, my body is a temple of ruin, and he would say. Okay. There we go.
So would you always have chippies growing up then? Would you say you
well, my mum used to work in a chippy.
Oh really?
My mum worked in a chippy called, it was called Mr. Chips. Was it Mr. Chips? Was it? No, tell me that. It was called Leo's in Springburn, up in Broomnose Road. So I was kind of brought up in the chippy.
Would you be working there when you were growing up then?
Now and again, I would go in after school and stuff and pour in the old tatties into the machine and things like that, and tried to serve stood up in a wee kind of box that held the ginger and stood up and that, trying to serve people. So I have known chippies very well through my life. But you've got to, if you're coming to Valdoro, you've got to fish and chips.
No, definitely.
It's the classic.
Was acting always the career choice for you then? Did you think you were always going to be an actor, or?
Well, no, really. I watched a lot of telly and came from that generation that you were brought up with TV, was your babysitter. So I kind of did a lot of impersonations and accents and stuff like that through watching things. But I never knew you could do a job through it, really. And so I just thought that was somebody up there on the big screen, or not something that me. And if you did, how did you do it? How did you go about becoming an actor? You know, sort of movie star. My dad, he was a film projectionist, so he originally was that before he became a hospital porter. So I think through that as well, he kind of gave me my love of film and telly, and introduced me to the cinema quite a bit. So I think it was kind of subconsciously kind of instilled in me without me realising it. So it was always kind of there. But my first love was art. I was a painter, and so. But I never made it art school.
Get crisp.
Oh, hello. Huh?
Oh,
listen to that, huh? Do you hear that? Written chip like that, look into my eyes, no, grab my face in my. We go, hip, feed it. Yeah, come on.
So, in 1995, 96, you were doing Pulp Fiction. Was that a sketch show?
Pulp Video.
Pulp Video. Was that one of your first, on-screen roles?
No, Pulp Video, what was my first? I'd done quite a few things before then, Taggart and, various things. I suppose Pulp Video was where I met Greg and Ford.
Oh, really?
In 96. But yeah, I'd officially been an actor for about 6 years before that, and I'd been at the sets for about 5-6 years before that. Hold on, Bob. So yeah, that's kind of where. It was a sketch show that Ford and Greg were in it. Greg and I played two old men in a couple of sketches. One of the sketches was, do you remember Magic Eye pictures? Well, these things that you'd look at these pictures for ages, it'd be a pattern. And if you looked long enough, you could see a picture within the pattern, kind of thing. And the idea was these two old guys were in a gallery staring at one of these. And Greg saying, they say that if you look at this picture long enough, the picture comes out, and this fist came out and went bang, punched him right in the face, and I went, oh my god, and kind of ran off. And then there was another one where we're eating ice creams, and while we're eating these ice creams, Greg saying, music nowadays, you get your dub, you get your reggae dub, you get your house, you get your acid house, you get your jazz, you get your, and it goes on and on and on. While he's doing this, I'm just licking an ice cream. And at the very end I said, well, I barely know what drugs to take with which. And Ford had seen this and said, there's something really funny about these old guys. So when we were bored, because when you're doing a sketch show there's lots of waiting about, we started talking about old guys. And just saying really inappropriate things. And making each other laugh. They wrote 2 sketches, and I was originally Winston.
I was literally, I've got that down there,
yeah, in your questions.
If I'm wrong, yeah.
So, and we went on, it was in front of a live studio audience, the sketches, and they brought us on too early. And the guy who was doing warm up with the audience was kind of insulting the crowd and stuff, really kind of cheap humour. So we turned on him, they brought us in too early, we were sitting waiting in the lights being set up, and we started taking the piss out of this guy. and the audience were howling. And we suddenly realised there was a lot of power in these characters, that you could get away with saying loads through the voice of being an old person. And it kind of was quite liberating that for once that these people could be old characters, but they said quite young things and still had life in them and were still game, basically. So from that they wrote the stage play. I wasn't available, I was doing a kids show at the time, and Paul Riley came in, he became Winston. I went on to do other jobs. For the next God knows how long, Velvet Suit, which was another stage show I did.
Would that have been before or after Tune the Fat then?
That was before, but when I couldn't do things any longer, they went on to do Tune the Fat, and I went on to do other things. So, so yeah.
How was the whole process of it in the beginning? Because when I was talking to Karen about Tune the Fat, she was saying how she was filming it and she'd film the first season and then just go on and carry on with her life.
Yeah.
And go on her job. When you were doing it, did you think at any point that, wow, this is going to be a hit?
It's weird, you know, I mean...
Because it's always hard to pre-guess things, I feel like, especially then when it's so different to a time now. It was like, what, 2002 it started?
Really hard to judge things, yeah, 22 years ago now.
I was born in 2006.
I'm a really bad judge of these things, to be honest. So sometimes you think, that's going to be a huge hit, it's really going to fly, and it dies in its backside. And conversely, the same can be true of some can read really badly. I don't think it's going to have a life and it takes off. Still Game, I think we all loved it, but you just didn't know. I don't think anybody could have foreseen how big it was going to be. But it was a real slow burner.
Really?
And the same as Carden. I mean, it only took up 2 weeks of my life, and I'd been an actor for 15 years, so, and I was only playing Bowie, so I'd only be in for a fortnight, do my bit and carry on my life.
But the whole, so see the first time of filming, so like up to, I don't know what, so obviously there was the second run, and we'll talk about that, but the first run it was what, 2007, no 2002,
2002. The
be
first
wrong.
6?
Yeah, how would you have filmed that then? Was it all in one, or was it in batches?
Oh, in batches and
Right.
seasons, so...
So from season 1, it wasn't like, right, this is our first season of 6.
No.
It was just, this is season
No,
1.
you would do the first and then see if you could recommission.
Okay.
So you would do, yeah,
Because that's how some of it, like obviously it's not going to make sense, but people always on Twitter and like Reddit try and find like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
it was
Jack
rubbish.
said his
Don't-
wife was this, but
Oh,
actually
yeah.
in season thing her name's that, like all that
Oh,
kind of
what
stuff.
happened to Tom's Way?
Exactly.
And
Literally,
also in
I
the
always
very-
do wonder about that.
He's here today, ladies and gentlemen. Can you come? People never ask that I've got a daughter. The very first episode I talk about my daughter, but nobody refers to it again.
Really?
I heard Bobby talks
What's
about his Leanne and his wife, I think, and then we never ever touched on it again. And it was because I wasn't the original Bobby either. There's another actor called Billy McElhaney who used to
Unlucky
play Scarlett's wife in River City. Scarlett's wife, Scarlett's husband in River City. But Billy wasn't available. He was doing another in Welsh play down in London called You'll Have Had Your Hole. There you go, that's theatre, ladies
It's
and
mad how
gentlemen.
that all works out. Like,
So
you
it was
couldn't
all
make
sliding
so Paul Riley
doors.
made that, and then you didn't.
And I had a shaved head at the time. I was doing another sitcom downstairs, and they brought us up to audition, but nobody else auditioned. They just did it as a wind-up. And then I'd said to makeup girls, I was like, "Because as an actor, you're always looking for somebody to cling on to." I said, "I don't really want to keep shaving my head. Is there something we can do?" And she said, "Okay, I'll meet you at lunchtime, whatever." Brought this box of wigs, and she said, "I've got an idea." I'm like, right. I said, "You're not going to like it though." I'm like, "What is it?" I said, it's a mullet. Oh no. I said, please just try it. Like, okay, and took out this wee thing, pulled it on, and looked in the mirror and went, "Oh, hello." Look, who's the missing member of Duran Duran? I think so. Yeah, he was born out of different things. Bobby.
Wow. Obviously, while you were filming Still Game, you were portraying a character that was meant to be at least, what, 30, 40 years younger than them all. Would you say then that was kind of weird? Did that play in your head a wee bit, or is it all just a character?
Not really. It was weirder. It all changed because at first it was weirder that they were playing such old characters, being so young. So they were playing people in their 70s when they were in their 30s,
So
20s. What happened was it all kind of reversed. So towards the end, they needed less makeup as they were starting to grow into the characters. I needed more makeup to try and look younger as Bobby, because I was obviously aging. So they could get away with it, I couldn't. So they'd spend more time in me than they had to with them almost.
Now I'm thinking about it, watching that, I wouldn't have even realised that you are actually so similar in age, because you do just look so much younger than them all, it's class.
So it's quite weird. And then that's why towards the end as well, I'd said to Greg one day, because normally you travel together for Klansman scenes, and one morning I said to Greg, I'm starting to look really old, because my wig had got really dark, and towards the last series they used different cameras and techniques that get quite dark to look at. I said, I think it'd be good if we started putting in wee bits of grey in Bobby's mullet, just age him up a wee bit. And Greg went, no, you can't do that. I'm like, how? Why? What's the problem? They said, because you'll be the last man standing. Bobby will be an old man when we're finishing, and that's how we've always seen it. So Greg kind of told me the end of Still Game before everybody else, that I would be how the show ended, and it would just be Bobby on his own as an old man who never ever makes it out of Craig Lang and never leaves the Klansman. That's how he ends his life. And I was like, oh. And he told it really beautifully. I got a big lump in my throat when he told me. He said, but don't ever tell anybody about it. I was like, oh, okay. And we didn't know when it was going to end, but I knew how it ended. And I never ever told anybody, none of the cast.
When did you first get noticed then? Because there was...
It took a wee while, actually, surprisingly. I think because Bobby doesn't do a huge amount in the first few series, it slowly builds up, because the template that Ford and Greg said to me is The Simpsons was actually Still Game in many ways. In terms of...
House, like house,
shot. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
You think
House,
Apu,
market,
Mo,
pub.
things like that. So you think a lot of the characters are it's the similar template to The Simpsons. And also another good trick.
You're Mo. That's mine.
Hey!
Did you think the revamp was necessary?
Do
you think it was needed to kind of end it off?
I don't know. I think
because I think it was
it's
weird
a funny one
from a fan side, obviously, because I think what you love so much about the first one is the first seasons anyway. Is about like they look old. I just feel like because it's this the thing is with the new ones is because it's such a different time. Is they're using much better cameras and the makeup's a lot better. I feel like it was good because
production value.
Yeah, because it was like it was like a Gen Z, not Gen Z version of it. But do you know what I mean? It was like a 2K20 version of Still Game. I think it was good, but I'd always wanted to see what it would be for you, because obviously you were going back to a job you maybe thought wasn't going to
technically
continue.
I can understand that the improvements. I didn't necessarily agree with all the improvements, because I think it, as I mentioned earlier, look, it kind of divided a lot of people. Some people love that character, some people hate it, you know. But I think
he went to Pace.
I
went to Pace and I was
right.
I did 3 Pace pantos, so I did. I know you're a panto guy. A few questions like that. But no, I feel like even that character as well, for that time too, because it wasn't as if Method Mick was coming out in 2002. It was 2018, where people were still. I think if it was after COVID,
and also it was a wee bit of a replacement for Pete the J.
Exactly.
You know, which was odd.
Some people weren't. I know a lot of people
loved
agree with that as well.
Personally, I'm not sure, you know, and I thought there's a danger of getting a wee bit cliched with those kind of things. Junkies in Glasgow and all that, and they're like, we know a wee bit better than that. I don't know, but other people loved it.
I think he does do it really, really
technically,
well. It's really funny.
I agree that it's not everybody's cup of tea. I didn't like it. I thought it got really dark looking and a wee bit flat, personally. But generally, as the show goes, no, I thought it was great. I thought it was a privilege. It's not often that you get to do a show for that long, but to do a show, have a break, come back live, do the numbers that we did, and then also come back on TV. And the thing I liked about it was, for years and years and years, every single day people came up to us and said, when you get back together, when you get back together, and I was like, that's not up to me, that's up to the boys, etc. And we did, so it felt like there was unfinished business and things to address. And I think we did that. You know, not everybody agrees. Some people think the earlier stuff's better than the later stuff. But then, if you go back to the earlier stuff, there was a lot of people would say, oh, the first 3 series are the best. Then after that, it's not so good. So there's always going to be people
exactly.
moaning, and also I'm thinking that a lot of that social media as well hadn't been so
It was
big.
the thing when it was a thing, but
Suddenly
like
everybody
MySpace
had an
and eBay.
opinion, and everybody wanted their opinion to be felt. So you would suddenly just get people saying, "That's pish," you know, and you think that's your idea of a review, is just to say pish.
Right guys, welcome back to Gio's Onion Challenge. Now today, our contender, Gavin, is going to see if he can take hold of the leaderboard before the end of the season. Now, our last few attempts have been pretty poor, Gavin. So we're going to see if you're able to crack down all 5 in 60 seconds.
God.
So the challenge includes, the onion must be finished in your mouth before placing another onion into said mouth. And yeah, you just must swallow them all before putting another one.
Jeez,
And try and get all 5 down in 60 seconds.
after a fish supper and
After
2
a
cans
fish
of
supper.
brew, jeez, I think I need
But to
winded.
them it's in between it. So they think this is going on while we're filming. So, 3, 2, 1, and he's off. 58 seconds on the clock. Got a good technique going on here. Moving the mouth a bit a lot more. So it's like Bowie's shagging face. We've got 48 seconds left. And the second one's down. So that's 2 and 15 seconds. If you keep going at this rate, you're going to smash this challenge up. We've got 38 seconds down on the clock now. I think you might be struggling here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, the second one's almost down, and it's 30 seconds down on the clock. We're still in that second. We're still in the second onion. There's 20 seconds on the clock to go. We're maybe gonna get 2 if we're lucky here. Oh, the third one looks like it's been picked up. Oh, is he doing it? Oh! There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the time is up. I think we might have got 3 there, Gavin. What words of advice do you have for next week's opponent? Put the leaderboard here and have it updated by editor James. See you later. So Gavin, you are a legend in the Scottish and Glasgow panto scene. But what would you say is the best theatre to do it in?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, that's easily. I mean, I started at the Citizens Theatre, although I never did panto at Citizens. But I'm that's where I started, so it always will feel like home in a way. But my favourite is the Kings in Glasgow.
Oh really? I thought you were going to say the Pavilion.
It's definitely, and it's just because it's such, I think this is 60th anniversary for panto this year,
Really?
actually.
Are you in it this year?
I'm not, no.
I'm missing out.
But yeah, it's just got such a pedigree and such an amazing place, and for such a big theatre, pardon me, it's designed by Frank Markham, who's a famous architect for theatres, and it's gorgeous inside. It's just, for such a big theatre, it still feels really, really intimate. And I was privileged to do quite a lot of pantos there and take over for Gerald Kelly there and stuff. And so you feel as if you're in it became like your living room almost.
Really?
It became like a wee front room, so you feel you can talk to anybody in the whole building. It's really quite intimate. So I love it. It's just a very, very special feeling in that place. And the people who went before us there were Stanley Baxter, Jimmy Logan, Francine Josie, Vicky Phil, all these Scottish legendary variety acts who have all played there. So to follow in their footsteps
Des
on
Clark.
that stage. Des Clark as well.
Do you think you have any good stories of any funny audience participation? Because you get that quite a lot for the Glasgow pantos.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean,
And also people in Glasgow are really cheeky.
yeah,
in
generally, I
so-
can't really think off the top of my head panto so much. I remember it more still game heckles.
Oh really?
At the Hydro,
At the
was
Hydro?
quite funny. You'd get a lot.
Would you just play on it or?
Well, look, I was the first Hydro we did. You didn't break the fourth wall,
Right. So you pretended
it was
you
up
weren't
to
there.
the boys. So eventually they broke the wall, but there was a point where we realised there's an audience when we play with that. And Bobby's the kind of main person who can deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of time all you could do was because it was so big and so many people. But the Hydro's quite funny. It's acoustics, depending where you sit. You can hear things clear as a bell.
Really?
And I just heard somebody shout, some prick, you know. And I got up from my seat and walked right to the front and stopped everybody and sort of just said, you know, there's only one prick in here and it's not me, mate. I suggest you shut the fuck up. and the whole place went, whoa! And that was pretty cool when you kind of deal with a heckler in front of
Yeah, people are
somebody's always looking for a fight, you know, especially on Twitter, and it's just...
Oh, but that's the one thing. I'm choking for this to be on Twitter. And because I don't have a Twitter for this, because I just don't really know how to work Twitter that much,
Right.
I feel like I would get slaughtered on Twitter, but that's why I want it to be on it.
Right.
Because it would get views.
Well, that's
and I
the
can
thing,
take a
it's
Twitter,
just...
man. You can flag me all you want.
Yeah, people, I think we just live in a culture where it's a lot of people, it's just about
Twitter's
opinions.
mad though. I'm heavy going off Twitter.
But that was amazing. Hey,
Whoa.
you! Oh, Sten,
Whoa.
your paw slipped there. Tell me it was your paw and know you ready to go in there. There you go. Huh? Good things come to those who wait, Bobster.
Well, upon doing my research, I also found out that you're a massive David Bowie fan.
I am indeed.
You accepted his Hall of Fame into the
Yeah,
Barrelings
it's my black star.
on behalf of him. How did that all come about? Would you always listen to him when you were younger?
Yeah, I've always been a massive fan since I was a wee boy. I've just always loved him, and probably one of the things that influenced me about being an actor and stuff, that I think I was just always really fascinated by his music and how he looked, and I think...
I can't even try and lie to you, I've never known too much about him.
Yeah.
I was a bit younger, and I think I was still a bit young when he passed. So
Yeah.
I would actually love to kind of look into him, because I don't really know
It's
much
fascinating.
/ anything about him, to be perfectly
It's a
honest. But
fascinating career. I mean, I think because he was a guy I could go on and on. You could do God knows many podcasts and me blowing the pants off people about David Bowie, but I just think he's a fascinating guy. He's a guy who he just changed. He was a renaissance man in so many ways. He was about art. He was about fashion. He was about music. He was about acting. He could do so many different things, and you couldn't really pin him down. He changed his image constantly. He changed the style of music that he played constantly, and I loved that about him. It was like you couldn't pigeonhole him, and he allowed people. I suppose the thing I got from him was that you could be whatever you wanted to be. You don't have to be stuck in one little box or have anybody dictate that that's who you are. That you can look how you want to be, do what you want to do, and say what you want to say, and try out all sorts of different things. And I loved that. You know, I lived in Berlin in the 80s, and part of that was because of Bowie. Yeah, when he passed away, the Barland got in touch with me that they had this award from, and would I accept it on his behalf? And I was like, what?
How come
Why?
they did pick you? Was it just
Just
a known
because
thing?
it was, most people know, it's just quite well known actually that I'm a huge Bowie fan. Hence when I got a tattoo when he died, and
that must have been really...
Yeah, it was massive.
For you to
yeah,
even do that.
And also because it was quite raw, because he died in January, and I was accepting the award in February. So yeah, if you think you can do it, and through that I got the award. It's a kind of long, involved story, but for different reasons. I found out his guitarist that had played with him off and on for 40 years was playing in ABC in Glasgow, and I thought it'd be good to pass the award on to him. So I got in touch with him, and through that I met his road manager, who then would invite me to things, and so made these weird connections that through the years I've kind of sang with his band, and whenever any of his band are in Glasgow we meet up and things like that, and I've done lots of things, but none of that. It was kind of bittersweet, because the only reason all of that happened was because he passed away, sort of thing, which is a shame. So I've been as close as I could possibly be to him, but only because he passed, which is the kind of bittersweet thing about it.
Well, finally, I just wanted to ask you, what are you getting up to these days? What does a usual day in the life look for you?
It's you and me, Bobster, isn't it? That's a day in the life. It's just you and I kicking about, isn't it? Yeah, me man. Gosh, what we're up to just now, we're touring, the five of us, Sanjeev, Jane, Mark, Paul and me do our own show called All Pals.
Mark left me on scene.
What's that?
He patched me on Instagram, Mark.
Did he? Well, you like cops, you get a grip of yourself.
That snake. You'll be having a word on that.
Jesus. Well, you come out of character for 2 seconds. So we've been doing that, we're touring about with that. We just did Corby at the weekend, didn't we? Yes, we did.
So I followed Jane on Instagram as well. I always see she's always posting selfies.
All right. So we've done that. We're doing the Pavilion this month, I think. Various other places. We're going to Ireland. We're doing Belfast and Derry. So doing that, I'm trying to do a documentary about libraries Then Port
Mitchell Library.
Mitchell
Named after you.
Library. Hello. I've been in Portal Libraries, Transformative Power of Literature, so I'm trying to do that. Bits and bobs. Night Sleepers just on at the moment on BBC, just started.
Someone else I know was in that.
Been doing that, but I just, but most of the time, yeah, just kicking about. Me, you, and Lindsay, isn't it? Just the three of us.
Well, Gavin, it has been an absolute pleasure. Is there a website that you can plug for them to want to see you and the gang?
No, gosh, what is it? Red Shoe Entertainment. If you go to Red Shoe Entertainment, you can see our up and coming gigs. We're gigging from now through till November, I think. And I'm doing some solo gigs as well with Look Who It Isn't. A Bowie Unwrapped. Pardon me, I'll be jumping about doing some of them. If you're lucky, he'll be there as well at some of them. He's good on stage. He's more interested than me, to be honest. So yeah, but yeah, that's it really. Thank you, Valdoro. Thank you, Giovanni.
No problem at all.
Good team.
We'll see you next week. God bless.
Get it around you.
Just ride with it, like, go and get live with it. Niggas don't like me cause I'm nice with it. And the girl gets hyped to it, net deep in